When I first moved into the neighborhood with my wife, Leena, I thought we were stepping into the perfect life. We had just bought a modest house, the kind with a white fence and a small yard, and it felt like the beginning of everything we had dreamed of. Leena was thrilled, already talking about planting roses, hosting barbecues, and starting a family. I was working hard at my job, determined to give us stability. Our neighbors welcomed us warmly. Among them was Mr. Rahman, an older man who lived across the street. He was retired, always sitting on his porch watching the world with sharp eyes. At first, I thought of him as just another curious neighbor who had nothing better to do. But he would often chat with me, sometimes dropping small comments that I didn't quite understand at the time. "Your wife sure has a lot of friends visiting when you're not around," he once said casually, sipping his tea. I laughed it off, thinking he was just a nosy old man. "She's sociable," I replied, brushing his words away, but his eyes told me he knew more than he was letting on. Months passed, and my schedule grew more hectic. I was working late nights, sometimes weekends, all in the name of building a better life. Leena always encouraged me, told me not to worry about her, that she kept herself busy. She had joined a gym, she said, and sometimes visited friends. Then came the night Mr. Rahman knocked on my door. It was around 10 p.m. I had just returned from a late shift. He stood there with a serious expression, holding his phone. "I didn't want to get involved in your business," he said quietly. "But I can't watch you being fooled anymore." He handed me the phone. On the screen was a video. Grainy, but clear enough. It showed Leena, my wife, slipping into a car parked a few houses down the street. A man was waiting inside. They kissed. The car didn't move for a long time, and when it finally did, Mr. Rahman had followed just far enough to capture them entering a motel on the edge of town. My legs nearly gave out. I felt like the air had been sucked from the world. I wanted to deny it, to accuse him of faking it somehow, but deep down I knew. I had ignored the signs for too long. "Don't act rashly," he warned. "Think carefully. Get your proof." That night I couldn't sleep. I lay awake beside Leena, who was sleeping peacefully as though nothing had happened. I stared at the ceiling, my mind a storm of rage and disbelief. I needed to know the truth. Over the next weeks, I became a man obsessed. I installed a small camera near the garage, another in the living room when I upgraded our security system. I checked her phone whenever she carelessly left it unlocked, though she usually guarded it closely. Slowly, a pattern emerged. She wasn't going to the gym. She wasn't visiting girlfriends. She was meeting him. His name was Faisal, a coworker from her old job. Their messages were sickening to read. She told him things she never told me. She laughed at my long work hours, called me boring, predictable, safe. Faisal, on the other hand, was exciting. The night I found their selfies together in a hotel room, my hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She had given him the parts of herself she promised were mine alone, but I didn't confront her immediately. Mr. Rahman's advice echoed in my mind. Don't act rashly. Get your proof, so I collected everything, screenshots, videos, bank records showing suspicious charges, a meticulous file that left no room for denial. When I was ready, I confronted her. We sat at the dining table, the same table where we had shared countless meals, laughter, plans for the future. I slid the folder across to her. "Open it," I said. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. Her face drained of color. "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, the oldest lie in the book. I leaned back, my voice cold. "It looks like you've been cheating on me with Faisal for over a year. It looks like every time I broke my back working late, you were with him." Tears spilled down her cheeks. She dropped to her knees, clutching my hand, begging me not to leave her. "It was a mistake," she sobbed. "It didn't mean anything. A mistake." That word again. As if betrayal could be erased like a typo. I stood, pulling my hand free. It meant everything. It meant the end. The next day, I filed for divorce. My lawyer didn't even have to fight hard. The evidence was overwhelming. Leena tried to paint me as cold, unforgiving, but in court, her crocodile tears meant nothing. The judge saw the truth. The fallout was swift. Faisal vanished the moment things got serious, leaving her to face the wreckage alone. Her family was humiliated, ashamed. She tried reaching out to me even after the papers were signed, sending long messages about regret and second chances. I never replied. Months later, I ran into Mr. Rahman again. He was sitting on his porch, as always, sipping tea. When he saw me, he gave a small nod. "You did the right thing," he said. I thanked him, my chest heavy but lighter than before. Without him, I might still be blind, wasting my life on a woman who never valued me. Now, as I rebuild, I carry one lesson with me. Betrayal thrives in secrecy, but truth always finds a way out. Leena thought she was clever, but she forgot that walls have ears and neighbors have eyes. And thanks to a watchful neighbor, I saw her for what she truly was before I wasted the rest of my life on lies.